when you get more information. An example of poor cognitive flexibility is given by Alexander Graham Bell. When one door closes, another door opens. But we often look so long and so regretfully upon the closed door that we do not see the ones which open for us. Executive functions is shorthand for all of the abilities I just mentioned. Executive functions are needed whenever going on automatic wouldn't work, for whatever reason. There are three core executive functions. The first one is inhibitory control, which includes the self-control, the discipline, and the intentional control that I mentioned. Inhibition allows us a measure of control over our attention and our actions, rather than simply being controlled by external stimuli or our emotions or old habits of mind or behavior. Thus, it helps make it possible for us to change and to choose how we react and how we behave, rather than being unthinking creatures of habit. It doesn't make overriding habits or automatic responses easy, but it creates the possibility. Children with better inhibitory control, that is, kids who were more persistent, less impulsive, and had better attention regulation when they were little kids, now 30 years later as adults, have better health, higher incomes and better jobs, fewer run-ins with the law, and a better quality of life than other little kids who had worse inhibitory control when they were young, controlling for every variable under the sun. That's based on a study of 1,000 children born in the same city in the same year, followed for 32 years with a 96% retention rate. It's amazing, I didn't do it. The authors conclude, interventions that achieve even small improvements in inhibitory control for individuals could shift the entire distribution of outcomes in a salutary direction and yield large improvements in health, wealth, and crime rate for a nation. Okay, the second core executive function is working memory, holding information in mind and working with it, which is critical for reasoning. But it's critical for anything that unfolds over time, because that always requires holding in mind what came before and relating it to what's happening now. So it's obviously needed for oral language, because you no longer have in front of you what I said before or what the speakers earlier today said. So you have to hold in mind what you heard and relate it to what you're hearing now. But it's also true for reading, because even at the level of a sentence, rarely are you seeing all the words at the same time. So you have to hold in mind what you read earlier and relate that to what you're reading now. Okay, I'm a huge fan of storytelling. Storytelling requires and invites a child's rapt attention for extended periods, sustained, focused attention, and working memory to hold in mind all that's happened thus far, the different characters' identity, and to relate that to the new information being revealed without the help of visual aids, without looking at pictures on the page or puppets acting it out or the video. You have to hold it all in mind, just listening to the speaker. A researcher randomly assigned kids in kindergarten and grade 1 either to storytelling or story reading. Story reading being that the adult reads from a book and shares the pictures in the book with the children. They found that recall improved much more in the storytelling condition, so did vocabulary. We don't know why, we just know the finding. But maybe one reason is that when you're reading to or with a child, you have to spend at least part of the time looking down at the page. But if you're telling a story, you can continue to maintain eye contact directly with the child the whole time. You don't have to periodically look down at the text. So it sustains the relationship more. You probably think this is a wonderful scene, but I'd like to suggest that young children also need this, storytelling, where only the teller sees the pages in the book. Without the visual aids of pictures or puppets, children need to work harder to sustain their attention and to remember the details of the story and who's who. And so I would encourage kids to do spoken word and poetry slam, because all of these need executive functions. They help train and challenge executive functions. The third core executive function is cognitive flexibility, which includes the creative problem solving and flexibility that I mentioned. One example of a test of cognitive flexibility is called design fluency or creative uses. And they ask you for unusual uses of common everyday objects. So try to think of all the things you might do with a table, besides eating on it and writing on it. What are some off-the-wall, crazy things you might do with a table? Anybody? Okay. Anything else?
Sledding.
What?
Sledding.
Sledding. Somebody else?
Sticking over a wall, hanging coat on a leg.
Yes. Somebody over here, I didn't hear.
Make a report.
Yes. Excellent. Excellent. So I don't need to give you the things I came up with. It's just the idea of thinking outside the box and coming up with things that nobody ever thought of before, or nobody ever did before. How can we stop ourselves from getting really upset when a child misbehaves? What we usually get upset about is the intent we think is behind an action. But we can use cognitive flexibility to reframe. A child might be acting in the most awful manner because he's been terribly hurt and is afraid of being hurt again. So he's going to push you away before you have a chance to reject him. And he's going to test you to see if you're really somebody he can feel safe with. If we see the misbehavior as coming from hurt, we can react completely differently. Okay, I wanted to show you examples of kids having trouble with cognitive flexibility. This card sorting task is appropriate for 3 to 5-year-old children. And when you're sorting by color, the blue truck card goes with the blue star. But when you're sorting by shape, the blue truck goes with the red truck. Okay? So the blue truck goes with the star for color, but goes with the truck for shape. So you have to wrap your head around that you have to deal with it in 2 different ways. 3-year-olds are great at sorting by color or shape. They're equally good at both. They're fantastic. The problem comes when they have to change, when they have to switch from doing it one way to doing it the other way. Most of them can't switch. They keep sorting by the first way. And I want to show you this because I don't think that we appreciate how difficult switching is for kids and how often kids might want to do the right thing but can't get themselves to do it. Because it's very clear in these videos that these children want to sort correctly, but they're going to repeatedly sort the wrong way when it comes to switching. First, you'll see a child start with shape, where you switch to color, I think, and the other one is the reverse way. The first child is very verbal, so she tells you what she's thinking.
This is the star. Where does it go? Go ahead. So point, show me where the trucks go. Excellent. And where do the stars go? Good job. This is a truck. Where does it go? Go ahead. So trucks go here and stars go here. Here we go, Caleb. This is a star. Where does it go? Excellent. Okay. Now we're going to start playing the color game. Remember, in the color game, red ones go here and blue ones go here. So, this is a blue one. Where does it go? Go ahead. Well, remember, we're playing the color game. And in the color game, blue ones go here and red ones go here. So this is a blue one. Where does it go? So where do you think it goes? Where do you think it goes? Where do you think it goes? Then take it over there. Okay, so point to where the blue ones go. Very good. And where do the red ones go? Very nice. This is the red one. Where does it go? Go ahead. Where do you think it goes? So it has to be going in here. Whichever one you think. If that's where you think, it's right there. Okay. Just remember, in the color game, blue ones go here and red ones go here. This is a blue one. Where does it go? Where do you think it goes? Okay. So wait, show me where the red ones go. And where the blue ones go. Okay.
Okay, and here's a child sorting in the reverse order, and this volume is a little higher, so I'll turn down the volume a second.
The blue ones go here, the red ones go here. This one's ready. Where does it go? We did. Where do the blue ones go? Beautiful. Where do the red ones go? Awesome. You got it. You're so good at this. This one's blue. Where does it go? The red ones go here, the blue ones go here. This one's red. Where does it go? Where do the blue ones go? Awesome. Where do the red ones go? Amazing. You're very good. This one's blue. Where does it go? Okay, so we're not going to play the card game anymore. We're going to play the shape game again. Remember the shape game? The trucks go here, the stars go there. Where do the trucks go? Good job. Where do the stars go? All right, high five. Give a high five to that one. Oops. This one's a star. Where does it go? The trucks go here, the stars go there. This one's a truck. Where does it go? Where did the truck go? Where did the stars go? Where did the trucks go? Perfect. This one's a star. Where does it go?
Okay, I wanted to show you that because you really wouldn't believe it unless you saw it. It's not enough to know something or remember it. You have to get that knowledge into your behavior. And it doesn't automatically follow that just because you know the right thing to do, you'll automatically do it. Or that if you're not doing it, you're automatically being oppositional. People have assumed that if children knew what they should do, they do it. Otherwise, they're intentionally misbehaving. But between knowing and implementing, another step long ignored is often needed. When there's a strong competing response, that response has to be inhibited, and young children may not be able to do that yet. Executive functions are important for every aspect of life. Success in school and the workplace, making and keeping friends, marital harmony, avoiding things like unplanned pregnancy, substance abuse, or driving fatalities. In other words, self-control, creativity, reasoning, mental flexibility, discipline, and perseverance are really important, and they're often more predictive than IQ. Okay, another time for bathroom break, coffee break, or questions or comments. Yes?
So often, at times, I think that with early learning, we look for different networks. We all go to Facebook, media, television, video games, and stuff like that. I just wanted your opinion on for executive function, the use of that. Because now we're seeing it in Head Start, and it alarms me. Like, we don't use the alarm programs, but it's hard to rationale. Like, a lot of people think, well, it's the way you use it, it's a learning tool, it can't teach language. For me, that's concerning, but I just wanted to hear your opinion on those sorts of things that come to executive function.
I'm going to talk about that, not that exactly, but all the other things that I would recommend other than video games. I happen to think that video games are not very good for executive function. They usually assume a short attention span, so they keep grabbing your attention. You don't have to work to focus. When my husband and I tried to play one of the games that the kids were doing so well, our son yelled at us. He said, "You're thinking too much. You have to stop thinking." And to the extent that they work best if you don't think, they're not helping executive function. But they're newer computer games that require thinking and thought and problem solving. And so I don't want to say that they have no place. I don't think they have much place with little kids. I agree with you that I would rather not see them in kindergarten or preschool or earlier. And I think kids need to be up and moving. I think kids need time outdoors in nature. So I'm not a fan of video games, but I think they can have a place later when kids are a little older. Okay. Oh, any more? Yes.
Well, two comments. Executive function is a very buzzword that has, I know in my own personal life and in our schools, that isn't necessarily replacing some of the other concerns that teachers are having. And a comment about video games, I did some research into that. My daughter was possibly suffering through this. There's a lot of stuff out there for adults even on video games. It's interesting that little kids get all that and think, well, how easy is that? Try the stuff that they've got these brain power things online now. They do that to you, but faster, and you're gonna suck just as much. The thing is that what happens though is that you can get to a point in video games, what my research has shown, where you just become used to that pattern. So it looks like you know what you're doing, but really all you've done is basically get used to a certain routine.
That's right.
And that isn't necessarily being able to be adaptable.
That's right.
The skills is simply just getting used to how to follow a certain routine. And so I agree that we have to be careful.